week's episode is brought to you by Support the Mountains Herbal Parasite Cleanse. This formula targets the small and large intestinal tracts and larvae, the most broad-spectrum formula available today. 100% organic, formulated by Dr. Mikio Sankey, author of the Esoteric Acupuncture series. For 10% off your first bottle, visit shopyogahub.com and use the coupon code CLEANSE at checkout. Hello and welcome to YHTV's Flowing into Awareness with visionary and master intuitive Anatara. I'm Christina Suzuma, your host of this program, and today we are speaking of dolphins in the wild. But before we do so, I need to thank all of you for nominating us in the 11th Annual Podcast Awards. Now, this is the nomination period, not the voting period yet. So those of you who did and took the time to nominate us, thank you so much. And this is for Flowing into Awareness as well as our Magical Medical Tour. Now look out for your emails and please be sure to keep up on our newsletter as well from Yoga Hub, because we will all put our energies out there that we will get nominated again this year, and then the voting will start. And then we'll depend on you and all of your friends and loved ones all around to vote for us. And if you'd like to keep up with it, please check out podcastawards.com, podcastawards.com, if you would like to know a little ahead of time, or if you think that you might have missed something. You can go right there to that website and check it out. Thank you so much again, and we shall move forward with the show. Now, at any time during the show, you can ask a question or give a suggestion just simply by scrolling down on your screen and typing it into the comment box. Now, if you're listening to this through a podcast, give us a call at 818-LETS-TALK. Is it 818-LETS-TALK? Thank you. And here we have the beautiful Anatara.
Good day, Christina.
Hello, Anatara. Are we still swimming?
Oh, absolutely. Swimming and bubbling and effervescing and just drifting and floating in the pure bliss and joy that it is to be in the water with the dolphins, the wild dolphins.
Wonderful. How wonderful.
We haven't talked about dolphins for a while, so it's just so timely that I've just returned from a trip from swimming with the wild spinner dolphins off the big island of Hawaii, and have been refreshed and renewed through my sensibilities of what it's like to be in the water with them. Yes. And what actually can happen when you're in the water with them. Did you ever get to do it?
Oh, no. No, we watched them from the shore. We were in the water. We watched the big, beautiful honu, the beautiful turtles and the whales that would just breach. And it's so stunning along that coastline. It's almost untouched, but...
Well, the shoreline may be touched or parts of it, but what goes on in the water, especially in the cycles of life of which the dolphins participate, that is essentially as it's always been. And I since I first started to swim with the dolphins 4 or 5 years ago, every single moment of every single day that I live is permeated with the sense of being one with a pod of creatures, being one with an element as one is in the ocean when swimming with the dolphins, feeling that my eyes see the depths of the blue, the depths of existence, the depth of heart, the depth of being. It may seem that it's a bit odd to be attaching some of these things to one sort of being, one sort of creature that lives on Earth. But what happens when you swim with the dolphins is that everything is amplified. Everything that you already know you can access or feel or know about yourself and about the world around you, your senses, your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts, even your spiritual connection, however you look at that, to whatever it is that you believe in, all of these things are enhanced when one enters into the water with the dolphins. The dolphins come into the bays the island to rest during the day after feeding offshore all night. So when we swim out to meet them, they are usually in their sleeping period, which means that they are slowly swimming and drifting in circles, large, big circles. They dive down to the bottom where it appears that they're barely even moving. Then they rise up to the surface and take a series of usually 3 breaths, and then they dive down into the depths again. And in these crystal clear waters, you can see what they're doing. You can see what's going on for them. You see the peace in their, in their bodies, not just in their minds and in what they're thinking. Now, there is some activity, however, because dolphins sleep with only half of their brain at a time. The other half stays awake and aware so that it can bring them up to the surface to take a breath. As conscious breathers, they must decide to breathe. So they have to decide to come up. And so you become part of that. And if you're drifting on the surface or diving slightly below with your mask and snorkel, as they pass by you actually touch and feel their energetic fields. And when they come very close to you, you can look right into their eyes. You feel them speaking to you. You feel them looking inside you. And it's not just with their eyes that they're taking glances at you. It's with their sonar. It's with their clicking and their chirps in a way. They are assessing who and what you are. The other level of communication that's happening all the time with them is their telepathic. It's an extended kind of local telepathic communication. And what I mean by that is, we know that we can communicate telepathically with friends and people that are far distant from us on the planet. But here in the waters, it's very immediate. The water as a medium amplifies things. It sends things to you. It sends out exactly what you're communicating to them as well. So you feel them come to you, check you out, and then merge with you and invite you to become part of their drifting and sleeping, or to become part of their play, because they do that as well, or to become a part of whatever it is that your super consciousness is asking to be given. So what I mean by that is that the dolphins can sense and tell what we are ready to engage in terms of our own enlightenment, understanding, or healing. And they become direct conduits for bringing those messages to us and for actually helping us to eliminate things that we no longer want and no longer need. I have found a couple of times many times, that I go into the water without anything specific in my mind. I go in in an openness and a readiness to be ready for whatever it is that I may see, might need to know in that moment. And the dolphins know this, and they can very easily assess what it is that you might be wanting to learn about. And then they can give you that information or show you where to find it for yourself. I think that the most profound thing about being with them is the stilling of the heart, is the coming into a quiet space where you trust and know that what you are feeling, seeing, believing, or searching for is in perfect alignment with who you are and what you're meant to be. So it's one of those things that I've approached moments like this many times in my life through meditation and in times of awe when I'm looking around at the beauty in front of me. But the all-encompassing sensations that happen in the water with their frequencies and vibrations and with their very consciously unconscious intent to bring us into our own expanded consciousness and awareness, everything is magnified. Everything is exaggerated. I can't wait until someday when you come and do it with me.
Oh yes, that would be a very lovely day. But don't you find like when you are in the water and you are resonating because I had some work done off the islands there with the wonderful Rebecca Goff who does aquacranial therapy in the water, and she connects not only with the dolphins but also with the whales. They're able to project through, you could call it their sonar or their energy levels. That the ripple effect is stunning. It's amazing the way, and it is a connection, and I choose to say that it is a conscious connection that they make. Yes, and really powerful if one chooses to be aware.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time being unaware as humans and not ignoring per se, but just not being tuned to an open frequency that will let us hear those things, that consciousness that you're talking about. I have come to learn through this visit with the dolphins and with the whales always surrounding us in the water, although not right beside us where we're swimming, that the whales are, I'm going to call them maybe the word oversoul would suit this purpose. They are the oversouls for certain kinds of information and certain kinds of understanding. Working with them and not below them, but as a function of who an individual whale might be, will be many dolphins. So you see the functioning of higher consciousness into whale consciousness, interpreted into dolphin consciousness, delivered to human consciousness. All of us are equally as important as any other one component. No one is more important than another just because we have a different job or a different understanding. And we can know that when we put out a thought as a human, a certain number of dolphins will respond to us, whether or not we're in the water with them, and a certain number of whales will then respond to that. It's a group pod, extended, expanded, beautiful sort of function.
Yes.
And what I really like to help people feel when they come into the water with the dolphins, if they don't recognize it immediately on their own, is that you are not alone. There is no possible way that you can even think that you're alone when you enter into the ocean surrounded by a group of dolphins. And if we think of those other connections that exist all the time, obviously we're not alone. But to feel it, to have the experience of an ecstatic, ecstatic and blissful moments that we don't usually even believe might be possible. When you give that to yourself, you are changed. You are much more you than you've ever been, probably, in your particular human form.
Oh, lovely. Very lovely. Thank you so much, Anatara, for sharing this wonderful experience. It's every time that you go swim with them, it unveils another level.
It does, exactly.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing this moment. And of course, we would like to thank each and every one of you for joining us in this new platform of education and information. We're grateful for your continuous support, and we look forward to hearing your feedback on how we can serve you better. You can connect with Anatara by following her on Twitter @Anatara, and of course, her own website, anatara.ca. Anatara.ca. Thank you. And, thank you for nominating us. And also, if you're watching our shows, please subscribe to our channel, share it with your friends, like us. And it would really help us to continue to bring you more and more content and more flowing into awareness. You can, again, leave your comments and suggestions on the site or give us a call at 818-LETS-TALK. 818-LETS-TALK. Thank you so much. Until next time, namaste.
Between 80 to 90% of the people in the world today in the 21st century have this problem of candida overgrowth. And, what has led to, it's the 21st century with antibiotics, chlorinated water, too much carbohydrates, too much sugar, too much yeasts and sweets, that has created this overgrowth within us of candida that leads to a plethora of problems that is really a common denominator between